You don't buy a car like this if practicality is what you're after, or do you? Well, stick around to see just how utilitarian a two-seat sports coupe can actually be. So with a capacity of 235 litres, I was down 15 litres on the already compact C30 I had before, but was confident that with a little consolidation I could still make the Nismo work. Now, the point of this short video isn't to explain why I don't really want or need a van, but just to show exactly how I managed to carry all my gear around in what would generally be considered an impractical car. The only real downside of carrying work gear in a motor like this is interior wear and tear, so I'll be trying to keep that to a minimum, but still if a few interior plastic bits need replacing prior to selling in the future, that's not the end of the world. Some cheap foam underlay shoved down the edges is sufficient enough to keep things from being scuffed at the moment though, while a cheap fitted rubber liner protects the carpet underneath and provides some grip and stability for the gear going on it. Because I'm only loading it for the sake of a video here, I'm going to remove most of the underlay except for the piece protecting the cross member at the back, just to make things look a little less cluttered on camera. So with that being said, let's lock and load. To begin with then, I carry a relatively compact 15 metre retractable extension cable which, despite not being weatherproof, hasn't failed me yet. I've also included a metal pressure washer and vacuum cleaner wand here that I detached from their machine counterparts as they tuck in at the back alongside the extension cable and just didn't want to forget them. I generally keep a Sidekick mini blower from Metrovac to hand, and while it's not capable of fully blowing a car off, it's great for wheels, badges, grills and bits of trim. Also, instead of the bulky 6 litre pressure sprayer I've had from way back when, I'll now just be carrying a more compact 1.5 litre item for citrus pre-wash, which, when combined with a full snow foam lance and 750ml trigger spray of all-purpose cleaner, is plenty considering I only tend to one car per day. The bulkiest item is probably my stacked bucket, wheel brush and expandable hosepipe bag, which up until this point at least contained 2 of the old style small Maguire's items and 1 of the larger yellow ones, but I've since substituted the larger yellow one for a soft collapsible Swissvax item to save some much needed stacking space. Before forking out 150 quid for a trio of them though, I want to test this one out for a few months to see how it holds up, but it does seem pretty robust to be fair, so I may well have a full collapsible and far less rickety bucket set up in the not too distant future. I then have my main detailing tool bag, which contains the bulk of my go-to cleaning products, 8 750ml trigger sprays containing everything from tar remover to trim dressing, a pair of 1 litre bottles filled with straight snow foam and shampoo, a snow foam lance and plenty of soft bristle brushes from the likes of Autobrite Direct Detail Factory. Sticking with bags, I carry 3 soft flex canvas zip items, the first of which is used to carry secondary or more specialised products like polishes, waxes, sealants and other random bits and bobs. The second is to hold all of the towels, pads, mitts and applicators I need to clean and detail a couple of cars worth with. And the third is used to comfortably house and transport a newly acquired 6 litre Henry vacuum cleaner. A weighty but incredibly compact Kranzle K7 pressure washer, which has seen better days but still works great, almost always accompanies me, as does its worn factory hose and trigger, which I generally detach to help make better use of the limited space I have. Lastly, there's my trusty Flex direct drive orbital machine, which still serves me well for the single stage polishes I perform, and with its interchangeable backing plates don't really have much need for anything else. So now you've seen everything, let me show you how it all fits in. So the retractable extension cable is tucked as far back as possible in a cubby behind the wheel well. The bulky bucket bag then slides towards the back of the boot, while the metal vacuum cleaner and pressure washer wands are tucked in behind it to prevent them from rolling about and potentially inflicting any damage. The opposing cubby then houses the mini blower and 1.5 litre pressure sprayer nicely. The trigger spray tool bag slots nicely into the remaining small space at the back, just like a long piece in Tetris would. Then the heavy and potentially damaging pressure washer goes in, but not before a foam kneeling pad is placed between it and the plastic wheel well trim. With that lot in, you can see there's still a fair bit of space towards the front of the boot, so that's used to house two of the soft canvas bags. The heavier one containing bottles and solid items goes on the left, and the lightweight microfiber one on the right, as there's nothing in there that could potentially be pierced, cracked or damaged by the exposed metal parts of the weighty washer. Lastly, the pressure washer trigger disappears down the centre of all the gear, while its coiled hose is held between the solid tool bag and the soft canvas one at left back. And that's it for the boot, so the question now of course is, will it close? And the answer is yes, quite easily. And as you can see, once closed, the 5% tint on the back helps keep nosy parkers at bay. With the boot fully loaded then, there's still a few remaining bits for which I need to make use of the cockpit. Now, the loose flex machine polisher can either be nestled in one of the perfectly sized storage areas behind the seats, and while a velcro backing plate locks onto the carpeted base and prevents it from jiggling about, it's a bit of a pain to pull out, and the less stuff I have directly behind my head the better. So for the moment at least, or until I can source a suitably sized soft bag to house it, it's placed in the back of the passenger footwell. Once that's in, there's just enough space for the third flex bag containing Henry to slot in. Now, there is the option of strapping him up on the seat instead, but to be honest, I'd rather keep things away from the ridiculously soft leather bolsters. But as you can see, Henry is perfectly happy to lay his ass on the floor. The only thing that does go on the seats while travelling to and from a job, apart from my backside of course, is a small rucksack that contains my sustenance for the day, and that really is everything. So yes, it's a bit of a compromise, but this way I still get to enjoy the looks and performance of a sporty car with just enough practicality to still be able to do a bit of work, instead of lots of practicality but not much else if I went for a van or similar. Some of you are probably cringing at the thought of using something like this to carry the likes of buckets and pressure washers around it, and that's perfectly understandable, but there's probably others who might be looking at this and aspiring to do the same. Either way, hopefully I've given you some insight into the way my wacky car cleaning world works, so let me know what you think, inventive or insane.